Hey guys, I'm Kathy and welcome to Your Home Keeper, where I show and demonstrate how I create real life home systems in my real life in the season that I'm in that are time effective. I take into consideration how much time I have, the energy I have, and what really needs to be done today. I always like to think about, God says, give us this day our daily bread, not give us this week our daily bread. So really thinking about how much time you realistically have, what your energy is, and then creating a plan around that. So on this day in this video, I am showing you how I reset my kitchen mostly, and how I prepare for the week to make sure that everything kind of runs really smooth. So right now you're seeing me measure out Archie's food for the week. Archie is our 8.5-month-old Boston Terrier that we got last July. And he is definitely motivated by food, like probably a lot of other dogs, but we've never had a dog like this that really reacts so crazy about food. He can wake up from a deep sleep if he hears some kind of chip bag open. But there you just see him kind of grab a little crumb that I drop, and he's searching around for any other little crumb that he may find. So what I do is I measure out his food for the week. That's so that we can all be consistent in how much that we're feeding Archie. So myself, my husband, and my daughter are the ones who are feeding Archie, so it's not always just me. So I want to make sure that, like I said, that we're consistent. So I'm measuring out here about 3/4 of that scoop right there, and then one little mini scoop that my daughter feeds him at lunchtime. And at lunchtime she feeds him in this, it's a, I don't know, intellectual feeder puzzle thing for dogs. Kind of slows down their eating and gives them kind of like a little mental boost, which actually can burn more calories for a dog than walking them for a mile, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, that just helps him along the way. What I have found is if I do take the time on Sunday to do some of these routines that you're going to see throughout the video, it really helps with some decision fatigue. So I can really just grab and go, whether it's an outfit for work or lunch for work. It's just a lot easier. Right here you can see that I'm unloading the dishwasher for sure, and I have noticed when I'm putting away containers that it's kind of a mishmash up there. So I am taking them all out and reorganizing them as I'm putting things away. This is actually usually what I do. Instead of just focusing on the task that I'm doing, I'm in that cabinet anyway, and it makes sense that I just take everything out and restack it to make it neater. We have a small kitchen, so it is essential really that we're keeping everything orderly, or we just have like stuff everywhere. It also helps us not to have too much stuff because honestly, we don't have room for too much stuff. So that is what you're seeing me do here. Really what I'm doing a lot of too is not just resetting the kitchen and getting ready for the week. I'm also building in some maintenance cleaning for my kitchen. Now when I think about cleaning, there are two types of cleaning that we all do. It would either be a maintenance cleaning or a deep cleaning. Now, I was home with my kids for about 15 years, and during that time, first I had a lot more time. I actually always make a joke like, during that time I had a lot of time and not a lot of money, and now I have more money and not enough time. So there you go, kind of finding the balance for both. But during that time I really had a pretty good routine on how I cleaned everything. So for example, on Mondays I cleaned my kitchen, so I did a routine cleaning or a maintenance cleaning that you're going to see right here in a second. And then what I did was each week I layered in another kind of deep cleaning task. For example, one week I would wash the baseboards, and one week I would wash the light fixtures, and one week I would really, clean the sliding glass door and, all things like that. So what this did was, because I did that, was I never actually had to do big seasonal cleanings. And so that worked really well. So if you're home all day with your kiddos right now, or you're a caregiver or whatever, you know, that might be a good way for you to kind of get out of that, you know, mindset of I have to do this big seasonal cleaning. And I still kind of don't have that mindset. What I try to do based on, you know, I don't have a lot of time right now to do those things. So I have to actually ask my husband for help, and he helps with some of those seasonal cleanings that I used to do all the time. And then some of the other things that I would prefer to do myself, I just build into my weekly routine. And you'll see a video pretty soon kind of demonstrating, you know, how I spend my weekends to, you know, not just maintenance clean, but add a extra cleaning project or projecting along the way. You know, we have to give ourselves some grace when we think about, you know, how much time that we actually have. And, you know, like I said, give ourselves some grace. We can't do everything, and it's okay. There's no perfection. Better Homes and Gardens isn't going to come into your house and be like, your house is not picture perfect. Like, it's okay. You're going to see in these videos, my house isn't picture perfect either. We all do the best that we can. So, you know, give yourself a little bit of grace. So right here, just kind of doing up the dishes that I can't put in the dishwasher, getting those washed up and dried, and then I think I start cleaning out my sink too. So anyway, you're going to notice also kind of my two-tone bricks right there, right above the sink. We are actually in the process of painting the kitchen. My husband is just about done with it at this point as I'm, you know, getting this video out to you. But we changed it from, was like a mustard yellow, which you'll see in a second, to this, it's gray actually. It's like a brownish grayish. In this video, though, it looks a little greenish on top of those cabinets, but I assure you, it is gray for sure. And those cabinets are actually our original cabinets. Our house was built in 1972, and I painted those cabinets probably about 15 years ago, and they have held up really good. They had the handles that were right in the middle of the cabinet, so I took those off, and then I filled the holes, sanded it, primed them all, painted them all, polyurethaned them all. It was definitely a project. I was working I had just gone back to work full time when I did paint these, and it took me probably a good 3 months because I was doing it. I was like doing it at night. I was doing it on the weekends. I had to take all the cabinets off. I ended up spray painting the hardware, the hinges, and then I bought all new knobs. So right here you're seeing me really doing my maintenance cleaning. I had a cleaning business for 8 years during the time I was home with my kids, and what I realized was there's a faster way to clean than just, you know, going from area to area to area. Up there goes the gate that you hear in my background, not in the video, but as I'm recording this voiceover. So what I do is I clean from top to bottom. You saw me clean the top of the cabinets and then the stove, and then I moved over to my little area there that I have my cooking tools that I use all the time, my knife block and my salt and pepper shaker. So I just clean top to bottom like I'm doing right here on the cabinets. Then I'm going to clean the countertop, anything that's on there, the light fixture, and then I'm going to start cleaning the bottom cabinets, and then I move right over to our sideboard. There you see that crazy yellow right there. And cleaning the microwave is actually something that I do when I do the dishes. I try to wipe it down every single day. I remember a long time ago, my cousin was over at a party, and she opened my microwave, and she was like, how do you keep your microwave so clean? And I was like, I clean it, like a joke, but I actually wipe it down every single day, and so that helps. You can also see here on the shelving, I do not have a lot of room. What you saw in that cabinet run, that's literally my storage in my kitchen. So I store all of my kitchen appliances, my smaller ones, on those two shelves right there. And like I said, we're in the middle of painting, so you can see right there part of the kitchen is painted in gray, and part of it is that mustard orange. That sideboard is also going to find its way out of the kitchen and into my garage to house all my potting stuff, and I'll take you along for that journey as we're redecorating our kitchen. I do have a new sideboard that we did get. We just haven't put it together yet. We're just waiting for Archie to get out of his chewing stage. Not that I want him chewing furniture, I certainly don't, but the sideboard I don't really care about, so it's not life or death if he does kind of get it a little chewy. But I certainly don't want him to do that for the new sideboard. So I washed the garbage can, which you saw a second ago, and there you can also see there's that puzzle game that I was talking about earlier for Archie. So I'm just really just tidying up the kitchen table, wiping down the chairs. That kitchen table is also going to find its way down to my basement, and we are getting a new island. There's Archie again for another appearance. And then I store my dishes right there on that shelf. Now, right now that wall is painted gray, and my thought is to put, I kind of have the artwork already picked out, is putting it over that shelf. So right now I'm washing the windows of the sliding glass door because Archie does get it like marked up. And then you'll see me kind of Archie fight with me a little bit with my cloth right here that I'm cleaning with. It's almost like too much that I am around him and he cannot have the cloth. And you'll see here in 2 seconds he's going to jump up on me, and we have a little battle of the rag, so to speak, going on. There he goes. He's at that rag, and we're having, he thinks, a little game of tug of war. So I changed out my rags because it had all his dog goo all over it, and now I am moving on to the refrigerator. So if you notice, just like I said, I did that top to bottom, and I'm moving around my room. So I am back to the refrigerator, and that's when I am starting to clean out the refrigerator. Now, we used to have a much larger refrigerator that was, here when we moved in, and we've been here about 25, it'll be 25 years next month. But it was actually way too big for the space. It jutted out probably about, I don't even know, 8 inches from where my stove is, from where it is right now. It was a side-by-side. But I can tell you this new refrigerator, it has less room. Like, we got something that fit the space because that was important to us. And it's just me, my husband, and my daughter, so it's not like we need all this food storage. But it is definitely smaller than our other refrigerator, and I'm not really crazy about it. I am using some organizing totes, or I'm not sure what you would call them. They're like the plastic totes that you would use. Oh, right here I'm showing you the egg cups that I make every month. I have a video coming up showing you how I do that too. So anyway, back to the storage containers. I use, they're like you would use them to store your shoes, I guess. But I was using them in my refrigerator during the farm season to store the farm produce or whatever. I'll talk to you more about how I manage my groceries and the food that we eat in another video. There's Archie again, thinking he's going to get some kind of stray crumb or something. But as you can see, he really can't reach the counter. Just enough for him to try to grab something, which he doesn't. But like I said, anything that has to do with food, Archibaldi is there and ready to go. So just wiping down the shelves. You're going to see the inside of the refrigerator here in 1 minute, and what that actually will give you a better idea of kind of what I'm dealing with. And if you have any ideas, let me know. I mean, when I first watched this video back so I could kind of think about what I was going to say, I was thinking like maybe I just need to change the shelf height. I don't know. What do you think? If you have a refrigerator like this, I would love to hear how you're organizing it, because I feel like I just have everything mishmashy, and it actually drives me crazy. So every time I open the refrigerator, I'm just like, I don't know, it bugs me. I feel like there's not enough room. here you go. Now you can see an inside of the refrigerator as I'm putting everything back. So sorry, it's a little Blair Witch Project here. So anyway, it's like I do store a lot of things in baggies. Maybe I just need to get better containers. I don't know, but I feel like it just seems like a disaster. I mean, I can't even stand up the beer bottles unless they're on the bottom shelf. But I don't know. I think maybe I'm just not thinking about this right. Maybe I just need to sit there and stare at my refrigerator to think about what makes more sense. But like I said, I would appreciate any feedback that you could give me, you know, like maybe you have one like this or, you know, something similar that could help me. So that's it. I am just putting everything back, trying to figure out where everything works best, and really nothing works best. So that's all, just kind of going back through and making sure everything is closed, and Archie thinks he's going to get a little more soul here and there, but he really doesn't. I have another video coming up that's going to show you in real time kind of how I reset my house, handle projects, and do a little deep cleaning while still living my regular life. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Usually in this, I try to every quarter take a day or two off around a weekend just so I can get caught up on some of my cleaning projects or routines. And I know some of it is just like, you know, I've got to give myself some grace too, because I do still battle with feeling like my house has to be like it was when I was home all day. And that's just not even a realistic thought. I've gotten a lot better at that, of giving myself some grace and understanding it's not going to be exactly the type of cleanliness that it was when I worked full-time, when I was home full-time, I mean, because I do work full-time. So I'm out of the house at 8, and I don't get home until about 5 or 6 o'clock. And then I have to make dinner, and to be quite honest with you, I don't really have the energy to do some kind of cleaning project. I usually just sit and relax and watch TV for a couple hours and then go to bed. You know, I don't want to feel like I have to work all the time, which is a mindset that I've, you know, really trying to work on, is, you know, giving myself some grace and just being like, it's okay if things aren't perfect, as long as I have an illusion of perfect, or an illusion of cleanliness. So here I am starting to reorganize this freezer, and yes, I do have gloves on because my hands get so cold that I cannot touch things that are frozen, or anyway, it's a problemo. So I have 3 freezers. I have this freezer up in my kitchen right here, which is where I like to keep convenience items, meaning like things that we're going to use a lot, like frozen berries, maybe it's like frozen English muffins that we're going to take one out, or stuff like that. So what I'm doing is, as I'm taking things out, I'm seeing what's bad, what isn't bad, what am I going to use for my lunches, what's got to go to another freezer. So, you know, this is what you're seeing me do right here. And then I'm going to take everything out and wash it and reorganize and put everything back. I'm finding that I have to do this probably about once a month, not clean it all out and everything. This is the first time that I've cleaned out that freezer, as far as not organized it, but took everything out and cleaned it since we got it. Look, here's another battle I'm having with Archie. He just is like, give me some food. I forget when we got this refrigerator. I think we got it late summer, but I'm not 100%. So this is the first time, probably way overdue, that I'm actually cleaning the freezer instead of just like sorting it and moving things. So what I find is once a month is the best time for me to do this, because, you know, sometimes I don't feel like going downstairs to put it in the other freezer, so I just plop it in here. But this freezer doesn't have a lot of room either, so I can't put a ton of stuff in here. So I have this freezer, like I mentioned, and then I have a kind of a small refrigerator in our basement. We have a bar area that refrigerator and freezer is in, and in that freezer I actually store all of my prepared meals. So it would be prepared soups, it would be prepared dinners that I've pre-made. I have a video coming up showing how kind of my thought process, how I plan for that, and some meals that I'm preparing to put in the freezer. So stay tuned for that one. And then I have a deep freezer that I keep a lot of my farm meat. I have a farm share from a local farmer, and I do get meat from them that I order a 1/8 of a cow and a 1/4 of a pig. Actually, last fall I got a 1/2 of a pig, but their pigs, the type of pigs that they got, the breed of pig, wasn't as big as they thought it was going to be. So I ended up with really not that much meat. So anyway, that is where I store that meat. And I'll walk you through actually my grocery budget, how I buy it from a local farm, and how do I keep my grocery budget as far as going out and buying stuff, not including all the farm stuff, to about $100 a week, and feed a family of 3, and I'm stocking my freezer and all that stuff with that too. So I'll walk you through that whole process if you're interested. And I do make most of our food, so it's not like we're eating processed food. Right here, you see the deep freezer that I brought some stuff down, and then while I was down there, I am changing the laundry and adding some more laundry in. There's a video coming up of me reorganizing my basement. That is a project that I've been working on since January, actually. And that's that definitely is thinking through how do I manage my time and still get some of that stuff done without being like completely, I don't know what that sound is, so I apologize, without being completely overwhelmed or just like working all the time. And so what I've done was I have made things into kind of bite-sized chunks so I don't have to get it all done in one weekend. I've just been kind of, hammering away at it. So now I'm back upstairs, and what I am doing is I am packing up my lunch for the entire week. So you saw those freezer bags I pulled out before. So I am going to add some garbanzo beans or chickpeas, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to drain those, and then I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of garbanzo beans in each container. And I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of the chicken and a cup of vegetables. And then you're going to see me add about a handful of bok choy. You can't see the measure. A handful of bok choy in each container that was left over from last season from the farm. So what I do is I do a lot of batch cooking. So if I am preparing my lunches for the month and beyond, I will make a huge batch of quinoa or rice or whatever grain you want to, and then I just store it in the freezer, and then I can take it out. Then what I did was I cooked a bunch of vegetables and flavored them differently. So I had 4 categories. I had Asian, I had Harvest, I had Mediterranean, and I had Southwest. That was the first time that I did that, and some of the flavors I'm going to repeat and some of the flavors not so much. And I'm going to change how I get this together because the flavors didn't really carry through. I definitely had to add a sauce to this, and I think next time when I do the Asian, I will just actually do a big, huge stir fry of the vegetables and freeze it like that. And then the chicken is still frozen, as you can see. That I did like a whole chicken in a crock pot and seasoned it, but I won't do that again because I really didn't like the flavor of the chicken, and like I said, the flavors didn't really carry through. So I think the next time I'll cook the chicken on a sheet pan with different flavorings or seasonings or whatever you want to call it, and then I'll walk you through that in a video when I get to it. I still have a bag of harvest flavored chicken and harvest flavored vegetables, or seasoned. I keep saying flavored. And I'll let you know. So when I do that next one, which probably won't be for a couple of months, or at least a month, we'll walk through how I do that and you can see what I do. So batch cooking to me, like, changed my life, and I feel like, you know, over the past couple of years, I really have tweaked how to do batch cooking. Like, you know what, if you watch these videos, sure you've heard of batch cooking, I'm sure you saw videos of batch cooking, but what I've done is I've taken those things that I've learned and I've applied them to my life and my energy. So I used to literally spend an entire Sunday meal prepping for the week. Like, I'm sure you can relate to this. Cutting up vegetables, you know, blah, 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 getting all this stuff ready for the week, and for lunches, breakfast, all this type of stuff. And, like, to be honest, I don't want to spend my entire Sunday doing that, especially, you know, I work a couple of Saturdays a month, and if I do that, I have literally a day and a half off, and I'm like almost like exhausted when I go back to work on Monday. So stay tuned for a video that shows you how I do all that. Now I am in my bedroom folding the laundry, part of the reset. I do my own laundry. We all kind of do our own laundry, and then whoever is available to do the towels or whatever, usually we'll just throw those in or whatever. So I am folding my clothes, and you'll notice me kind of throwing things to the side. Those are items that I actually need to hang up, or it's my husband's piece of clothing, because if he does have clothes downstairs, I usually will wash them with mine too. So I just don't want him washing my clothes. Anyway, that's a whole other story. So while I'm folding my clothes, I am also thinking about my next step, which is figuring out what I'm going to wear for the week. So I have found that if I put outfits together ahead of time, it actually helps with that decision fatigue. So for me, it's like lunches are ready to grab and go, breakfast is ready to grab and go, my clothes are ready, all set up, so it's like I can just, you know, live life and not think about staring in front of my closet for, you know, a long time figuring out what I'm going to wear, and then thinking like, oh, I can't wear that because it needs to be ironed or it needs to be steamed or whatever. So I do that ahead of time. And I can put a video on how I use Pinterest, actually, as my secret weapon to put together what I'm wearing. So this is what you see me do right here, is just laying out, kind of throwing some blazers on my bed. I have a shoe right there that I am thinking about might go with an outfit. I decide, I don't really want to wear that. So this is what I mean. I have some time on Sunday. I usually have an idea using Pinterest of what I'm going to wear. And then I am just laying it out, you know, looking at it, visualizing it. Is this something that I want to wear, including accessories? Now, I'm not tied into it. Like I said, some fashion police is not going to come into my bedroom and be like, that's not the outfit you picked out for today. You've got to wear this. Like, you know, sometimes I change my mind. It's okay. But this just gives me an idea. Right? I think about what I have going on for the week. Do I have meetings? Do I have a luncheon? Do, you know, whatever, what client meetings I have? Do I have any networking events? Anything like that. And so that helps me think through what days I'm wearing what. So I work for a regional bank. I'm a branch manager, and I have to dress a certain way. So it is, I would say business casual, but not the business casual you're thinking. It is a bank. So business casual to us would mean I don't have to wear a blazer. But I can't wear jeans. I can wear those little loafers right there, but Anyway, that's business casual for us, is I don't have to wear a blazer. So anyway, we're coming up to the end of this video, and I would just like to say, take one step at a time, give yourself grace, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.